Well, here we are, episode 3. So, I guess this episode I sort of want to talk about the sort of the, this idea that loneliness kind of is pervasive throughout this game. Um, you know, if you think about it, Wander at this point, when we meet him, is most assuredly alone. Yes, he has his horse, of course, but he is effectively alone. There are no other people here in the Forbidden Land. And the closest thing he's got to someone else is literally a corpse. So he is totally by himself here in this place. More importantly, the Forbidden Land itself visually kind of represents this as you explore it. There are, all of these small shorelines and, these ancient temples and, seemingly deserted or destroyed architecture. This place is completely empty. And, the visual design of the world itself with its, its empty fields and, very, very, very limited vegetation. It's just the whole place. It's not a very welcoming place. It just seems to be a very sad, lonely, and empty place. And it seems appropriate for a character like Wander, who seems to be at his last straw, at his wit's end, thoroughly unable to really, deal with everything, and he's now here to try and solve what is essentially an insurmountable problem. That is that, Mono is dead, and he is now relying on an entity he doesn't really understand to try and fix that very, very difficult problem to solve. So, even right here, I mean, even this little cavern, this little, I don't know, canyon. It's just, there's nothing here. And it's just so neat that a game is willing to create a situation or create a playground for players to kind of dig around in. That's just so evocative of this lonely feeling. Except for these lizards. These are a thing. You can find these lizards throughout the game. They're nothing particularly special. You can eat their tails. I forget if the tails I think the tails give you a little extra stamina. So, I won't be going after all of them, but if I see some, I will grab some. Yeah, I mean, it's just everything. It's just so desolate and not pleasant here. And I keep thinking I'm hearing another lizard, but I'm going to let it go. Now, beyond the Forbidden Land, I mean, which is itself a very lonely place with not a whole lot going on in it. The Colossi themselves are very visually reminiscent of this idea as well. And none, I think, present this more straightforwardly than our next Colossus. This Colossus is called, well, unofficially anyways, it's called GAIUS. And the developers internally referred to it as the Knight. And I think it's a rather appropriate name, the Knight, just because of where it's located. It's found in this little lake, sitting atop this little platform in the midst of the lake. It's all foggy and very lonely and not very welcoming. Incidentally, I never really thought about it until playing it now. But the fact that this Colossus is known as the Knight, and he happens to be in the middle of a lake, I can't help but wonder if Ueda and his development team may have pulled some ideas maybe from Arthurian legend. specifically that of, say, the Lady in the Lake, and you know, the idea of Excalibur being in the midst of a lake. Because as you will see, this Colossus is very humanoid. It wields a weapon, a familiar-looking weapon, in fact, and I wonder, I really do, I can't help but think that that's probably purposeful, that they would put this particular Colossus in the middle of a lake, so as maybe to kind of, maybe subconsciously get players to maybe think in terms of Arthurian legend and the sort of chivalrous acts that the Arthurian heroes were embroiled in, and the fact that our lead character here, Wander, is definitely on a quest, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it a chivalrous one. If anything, I would consider it a blasphemous quest, from an entity that more than likely does not have his safety in consideration. But here it is. This is GAIUS. One of my favorites in this game, I think. GAIUS is, I don't know. It's just a really cool looking Colossus. It's a really well designed beast. I mean, look at it. It's so tall. It's lanky. Just the sheer force of that is just amazing, and I really do wish I had access to like a good surround sound system for this game, because I feel like this game would really take full advantage of something like that. I think it would be really cool to experience it that way. I don't know if I can get up here this way, but I will try. Oh no. What can I do? Well, perhaps I could try stabbing it in the arm. That might do something. I know in my original playthrough of this game on PlayStation 2, I believe this was the first Colossus I genuinely had trouble attacking. Not really because it was difficult. There's nothing remotely difficult about this Colossus, but just the fact that it is vaguely human in design, and the fact that it is obviously intelligent. It's not just roaming around. It's actively trying to attack Wander. Kind of sad, really, the idea that a lonely hero has to come and attack and kill what appears to be a very lonely Colossus. It's fitting, really, I suppose. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna get anywhere on the... well, perhaps I will. Let's see. He is not gonna stop moving, is he? Wait a minute, I got an idea. Not like that, though. Oh, man. Well, that's okay. I can always go with the proper way of doing this. That involves this giant platform right in the center of the arena. So this is the proper way to actually defeat this Colossus. So, yeah, that's the proper way to do it. Technically, you can actually get up onto him where you need to get to hurt him, without having to break his arm brace, I guess. But I'm not that good at doing that. I remember I did it on PlayStation 2 once, and I don't think I've ever been able to do it again, so Yeah. Yeah. Shoot. Alright. Let's try this again. My God, just the length of that is just amazing. Like, you can't even see the full wind-up. That's how big, or rather how tall, this Colossus is. And it's just magnificent. I'm gonna climb up his arm. Whoa. Alright, camera. Wow. Okay. Okay, there we go. Aha. Ah! Alright, there we go. Now we're good. Alright. There we go. We have to stab him in the stomach. And also, too, as an explanation of all of this, depending on where you actually hit on the sigil, you will technically do more damage. The trick is you want to try to get right square in the middle. That's usually the best way to hurt them. Okay. Probably shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. I should be alright. Wow. And look at it bleed. Oh, man. That's just not pleasant. And that's honestly one of the things I really appreciate about this game, is that regardless of the fact that the Colossi themselves are obviously sentient, and the fact that they are technically trying to kill you, it's still... The developers still found the time to really send home the message that you are inflicting immense amounts of pain on these creatures. I mean, the fact that they buckle when you actually hit them in their magic sigil, the fact that they're just bleeding profusely, I don't know, it's very unpleasant. It's not like, the game is really fun, don't get me wrong, but like, in retrospect, when you're really going after these creatures, it's not a pleasant experience when you think back on it. I mean, I mean, imagine that, you're a large creature and some small little thing is climbing upon you and stabbing you repeatedly in the stomach. That's just not great. That's not a great thing to think about. Alright. Now I need him to just swing again so I can get back up there. GAIUS can be a bit finicky about this. I've never really fully understood what the trick was to just getting him to consistently swing his sword. I believe you have to be a certain distance away from him before he'll do it. And I think he might be going for it now. Maybe? No. Just he was backing up a little bit, I guess. Let me see. Can I... Okay, this'll work. Oof. Man. Alright. Let's try this again. But this time, let's try to get up here without too much issue. And then I will attempt to regain some stamina before I jump onto his waist. Or his tummy, I guess, really. Alright. I think I'm good to go. Whoa. This is always scary. Getting onto him and then hoping that you don't fall off. The sense of scale as well is just something else in this game. I really cannot think of any other video game that really sets up this very specific sense of scale. Also, I believe that magic sigil is out of the question. I think it's gone now. So now I gotta figure out where else to go. And I have an idea. I'm pretty sure I need to get back up on to his chest area, because I need to get to his head. If I can. He is not happy right now. Oh. Fortunately, the camera can be a bit hit or miss sometimes, depending on which Colossus you're facing up against. Sometimes it's not a big deal, and sometimes it can be a little wonky. But that's okay. It's certainly not the end of the world. Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this. I'm gonna try, but I'm not holding my breath. He is not cooperating. Which I guess is correct. He really shouldn't be cooperating. I mean, I am inflicting massive amounts of harm to him. Let's see. Whoa. Alright. Whoa. I don't like that. Right. Whoa. Okay. Oh, man. Really unpleasant. Damn. He is really not happy about any of this. Gain some stamina and then get going back up here to try this again. Alright, I think one more should do it. Whoa. Okay. Not quite. Need one more. Okay. One more after that. And there it is. That's GAIUS. The Colossus of the Lake has been defeated. Now see, that one just actually falls like it knows what's happening. I mean, it fell on its knees, it looked straight up into the sky and then just died. That's a rather unpleasant image. But that would appear to be the end of episode 3. So, on the next episode, a Colossus that's a little different than the ones we have fought so far. In any case, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me for the next episode. Thank you, have a great day, and goodbye.